Good morning. Our hand today is going to be pocket threes. In this hand, we have two limpers. Before it gets to me, this is a 5NL game. This player is playing 14-7. This is his first time limping in. He is under the gun, looks tight. Looks like he usually raises first in. So when we look at like a range, so I got like 13% raise first in, 11%. We're looking at this is something like 13%. This is 11%. And I kind of expect him to raise something like that. So then for his limp, I'm going to guess it's something maybe like this. Maybe like Queen Jack. Possible like Queen 10, King 10. It's going to be limping in something around that range. This guy is 54-7, large range. I'd say 40%, 50% maybe. But then when I look at some of the notes I do have, he limps and calls a raise with King 2 suited. Okay, so we've got the suited kings, and then Queen 5 offsuit. So when I initially had his range, I didn't have all of these, but if he had Queen 5 and Queen 6 offsuit, I'm going to guess that he limps in with any ace, any king, any queen, suited or offsuit. So that this gets us 57 along with our connectors and stuff that I think people usually have. Then for my range, we look at the isolation raises. We've got always an optional. I'm just going to go with all of them here. We've got some loose players. Guy that's doesn't necessarily limp. Let's see what happens. So I open raise to 6, and both of those limpers fold, but we do get the button that calls. So this guy folds. This guy folds. Now we need to figure out this guy's raise. We don't have a huge number of hands on him. On the button, he's 0 for 3. Pre-flop, I am guessing out of these, he hasn't played much. He's going to be fairly tight. So I'm putting together some range, knowing that he has people behind him and he's out of position. I'm going to give him something fairly tight, like 5.7, 6%, like 5 to 6% range. I think this probably looks okay. I'm going to include these, suited hands, Jack 10, Queen Jack, and only go down to about pocket nines. So the flop comes Queen 5-2. Villain donks, and this is the first time that he has donked. So the question is, what does he donk with? It'd be unusual for a player at this level to donk with 3 of a kind. More than likely, he is donking maybe a top pair type hand. Oops. Let's get this Queen 5-2. And more than likely, it's going to be like a top pair type hand. Not sure, like those. I'm thinking more like Queen Jack, maybe, or like a pocket pair less than the top card, where he's trying to gauge where is he. I think that's about his only donking hands. It's just for the general rule. So right now, we're looking at more cards that are underneath. So the question is, can I reasonably represent a queen at this point? And if I can, how do I go about playing it? So let's see, what would I continue with? I think our options to raise or call, and the question is, what do we get the most out of? I think if we just call, Villain's going to tell us. He's going to tell us what he has. I think if we just call, he's going to probably check behind with these pocket pair less than the top cards. Same thing with the top pair. I think if we raises, he may call, thinking that there's a diamond, and then we kind of pick up the diamond call. But we can do the same by just calling behind. So like if we raise, that is kind of consistent with raising with the flush draw. I think a lot of people are aware of that. So I think for the less risk, I think calling might be the better play, and that's what I do. So if we're going to be calling with some of those hands, and we're calling kind of as a bluff, yeah, we have backdoor draws. And that's really kind of why I called for those backdoors. So yeah, we're gonna call top pair plus. We're calling pocket pair. We're calling flush draws. We're calling the gut shots. We're gonna call 2-card backdoor flush draws. We're calling with all of those middle pairs. They're about the only things that maybe we can get away with. And we've got other cards in there that could kind of connect with, depending on the turn. So maybe not like king 5, but like ace 5, you've got backdoor draw to the wheel. So something like that with the plan to bet on a good card, bet on a diamond, bet on like a wheel type card, because we could have that ace X, that ace low. So turns king, that doesn't help us. So villain checks, and I'm not surprised. I think he's going to be checking everything that he has here, because he probably doesn't have like, ace king, trip queens. So then it's on me, and that doesn't really help us at all. I think we would be betting the sets 2 pair over pair for value. Probably also the top pair. I don't think we're betting all of the queens for value. I think we're going to bet our ace queen for value top pair, but I think these other ones we're probably just going to be calling. We've got some showdown. Same thing with the pocket pair. I think we can bet sixes and sevens. Let's color those because those are going to be bluffs. 6s and 7s for value, maybe 8s for value. But then the other ones, I think we've got some showdown value. We can win with the queen. We can win with, maybe pocket jacks or pocket 10s. I think we take a stab at with the weak pairs. I hate to say it, but I think if we bet with our flush draw, it's going to be way too much. So our open enders, it's straight and flush. I think we could bet. That gets us probably closer. We have our bets here with our under pairs, and our weak pairs. Now that we missed our backdoor straights, so I think we should bet with those hands. I think that's a pretty good bet. And then he does call. So once he calls, I kind of think it's going to be the queen. I don't think it's the underpair unless he doesn't believe me. So maybe we say, 50% of the time he doesn't believe me here. But at 5NL, I mean, that's entirely possible. At 5NL, they have any piece of the flop, they tend to call. So we're going to give him that. I still think he's very much ahead, definitely, of my 3s. Jack of clubs gets there. I think the Jack of diamonds would have been a whole lot better for us, much more believable. Villain checks, and the question is, if I bet, can I get him to fold? Probably not. He's now improved to 2 pair. He could have a set if he has the under pairs, or jacks. I think at this point we just give up because I don't think he's going to fold. If he didn't believe me on the turn, I don't think he's going to believe me on the river. And what I would have to do is basically push him all in to get that fold. And I think that maybe GTO says we make that play, but villain has to be thinking, well, am I really going to call with that backdoor club? And I don't think they necessarily believe it. If it was a diamond, I think it's realistic. We could fire, and it puts him to the test. Could he have the diamonds? I don't think donk betting with the diamond draw is likely. So I check behind. And in this case, I would bet the flush. I would bet the set. I would bet our 2 pair. I would over pair's tough. And same thing with top pair at this point. Definitely 2-pair plus, but I think over pair and top pair. I think based on his range and what he improves on, yeah, he might have queen 10, queen 9, but I think that jack just really, it's more likely to hit his range. So I kind of think we're going to be checking any of these lower hands, and yeah, we could have a bluff, but I think exploitatively, I don't think we should have a bluff. Not at this game. So I did check behind. We get to see the flop. He shows ace queen, so I didn't have ace queen. That was one of the hands that he said. What was it? That was in his notes. Yeah, calls 2-bet from blinds range, ace queen, and then he led with it. So I didn't think he would donk with an ace queen type hand. Normally the donking is with a weaker type hand. So what we'll do is call, button, ISO, raise 6 big blinds from big blind with ace of diamonds, queen of spades, donk, and I think he donked a pot bet. No, he didn't. 6.4, 7.2 is, so he donked maybe 40%. Then check and checked on, oh, and I guess he's out of position. I guess that kind of makes sense. Oops. Let's get this out of position, donk, and then we've got queen of diamonds, 5 of diamonds, 2 of clubs, and king of clubs, jack of clubs. All right, so now we know that he's capable of donking any top pair hand, and we'll know that because he'll have the ace queen. And I'm surprised he didn't continue betting, but if the king came, he's scared. He's scared of it. So I don't necessarily mind my play. We were pretty aggressive. I do think that jack hits his range, especially his donk betting range. So I lost this hand. Would it have made a difference had I raised? Probably not. Not with this hand, but even then, I think if we didn't have any sort of backdoor draw, we could probably just go ahead and call that. But if I'm sorry, raise it as a bluff at that point, because at that, I mean, we are bluffing. But once we have the draws, we have the potential of picking up draws that allow us to continue and allow us to bluff on the turn. And we also have cards that I think could, like a diamond, that could allow us to bluff and put pressure on that top pair hand. All right, hopefully you enjoy this hand. If you do, look tomorrow for another one.